All right, today's class is level 1, Introduction to Decoupled Flight in Atmosphere. For any and all keyboard and mouse users, I personally recommend to stay in coupled mode, but if you want to stay in decoupled or whatever is comfortable with you, that is completely fine. We're going to be going through exercises today that is beneficial for everyone, and my hope is that I impart my knowledge and passion for flying to everyone here. And who knows, maybe you'll be as addicted to racing as I am. Before we begin, Black Maze, any words you'd like to say before we get started?
Oh man, I'm just so excited about the racing school in general and to see such a big group today. And I know your first lesson also saw a really big group is awesome. And all I can say is, everybody, you couldn't be in better hands. I look forward to observing this.
Excellent. All right, side prime party invite sent. All right, so let's go through the coordination briefing. The recommended ships for today are the Base Razor, Razor LX, Razor EX, Origin 85X, Mustang Gamma or Omega, 350R, Arrow, and Gladius. If you don't have any of the ships I mentioned, don't worry. Bring any small ship you're comfortable with flying, such as the Aurora, the Avenger Titan or Stalker, the 100i, the M50, the Buccaneer, etc. Several of us have many of these ships, so if you want to try out a ship, feel free to speak up, and some of us will be more than happy to lend our ships. We're going to be holding today's class session at Lorville Gateways. I believe it's the second track ever made by XGR, so one of the OG tracks. Please set your spawn at Everest Harbor if you haven't done so already. This will allow you to quantum travel back to the track quicker if you die. If you died during the class session, the class is going to keep going, so come back to Lorville as quickly as possible. If a student dies, I encourage you to try other ships so you can get a different feel for different ships at Lorville, but if you want to stick with the same ships throughout this class, that is completely fine. I'm going to be recording today's class so that future aspiring racers may review today's material. Feel free to take any breaks throughout the class session if needed. We will be covering 5 topics today with exercises for each topic. I'm going to be demonstrating the 5 topics we cover today, so I encourage you to watch my Discord stream when I instruct you to watch my point of view. Any of the more experienced racers today, feel free to help anyone chase you around that may not be familiar with the track. That's more so for the 5th topic. If you have any questions throughout the class, please do not hesitate to ask, and I'll do my best to answer your questions. If anyone has answers to those questions asked today, feel free to speak up. If this is your first time flying in decoupled mode, it's going to feel very different. Don't be afraid to make the plunge, and I promise you that you will become a much better pilot once you get used to it. Okay, so now that we're talking about decoupled mode, what are the benefits of decoupled mode and what's the point of even learning it? Well, think of decoupled mode as manual, whereas coupled mode is kind of like flying in automatic. When you're in decoupled mode, you're going to have full control of your ship. You're going to have full power of the thrusters when needed. This is especially important if you're doing like a turn and burn maneuver with your mains. And you're going to be carrying speed and momentum much easier throughout the track. So let's go over a quick review of the thrusters in our ships. Let's go over the main thrusters. Those are going to be the strongest thrusters in your ship. They're mainly used during flight. And the best way to brake, if you're able to, is to turn your ship around because of how powerful the mains are. Bottom thrusters. Bottom thrusters are mainly used to maintain altitude, especially in an atmosphere or an environment like Lorville, where gravity is constantly pulling you down. Bottom thrusters are also used to bichord during a turn. For anyone that doesn't know what bichording is, that's essentially using 2 thrusters at once. In this case, you're going to be using your mains and your bottom thrusters to bichord. Most light ships are light in weight and have strong enough bottom thrust to easily maintain altitude, and altitude is also harder to maintain on larger ships and or ships with weak bottom thrusters. And you're going to get a feel for that as we go through the exercises. Top thrusters. Top thrusters are mainly used when landing, and they're also used for minor corrections during flight. Lateral thrusters. Lateral thrusters are mainly used for yawing. They're also used to maintain altitude when you're rolled in a 90 degrees during a turn, and you're going to feel that when we go through one of our exercises. They're also used for minor corrections during flight. I recommend avoid using laterals in Atmo when you're leveled out because you're going to lose a lot of speed, and for some ships you're gonna lose some of that control. So, and we'll go over that in more detail later. Retro thrusters. Retros are mainly used for braking. I recommend only using this for emergencies if you're approaching a turn way too quickly. Retros are also kind of like your oh shit thrusters. If you're spinning out of control and you're plunging to to the ground, you can either pull up, use bottoms and mains, or you can use your retros as well. Whatever is most comfortable for you at that moment.
Shark no man. Could you throw me an invite, please?
Yes, sir.